Few figures are as complex and compelling as Anakin Skywalker, a hero with unparalleled potential, a tragic figure doomed by his own choices, and ultimately a symbol of redemption. Among the many controversies that surrounded Anakin during his time in the Jedi Order, one particular aspect stood out. While many Jedi adhered strictly to tradition, Anakin's dark robes and uniquely crafted lightsaber became symbols of his rebellious nature and a source of deep concern for the Jedi Council. From the moment he joined the Order, Anakin was an anomaly. His late entry, raw power, and headstrong personality set him apart from his peers. But it wasn't just his remarkable abilities that made him a focal point of discussions and scrutiny. It was his deliberate deviation from the established norms of the Jedi Order. These choices, which seem insignificant at first glance, hold profound implications. Why did Anakin choose to distance himself from the traditional robes of the Jedi? What was the significance of his attire and weapon in the grand scheme of his journey? And why did the Jedi Council view these choices with such trepidation? Today, we unravel the underlying tensions between the Jedi Order and the Chosen One. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Star Wars content. Hit the notification bell to stay on target with our latest videos, and if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member. Your support helps us bring balance to the Force and keep the content coming. Anakin Skywalker's journey within the Jedi Order was anything but conventional. Unlike most younglings who began their training almost from infancy, Anakin joined the Order at the age of 9. This late entry was a point of contention and marked the beginning of his tumultuous relationship with the Jedi. From the outset, Anakin felt like an outsider. The other younglings had been immersed in the Jedi way since they were toddlers. They knew little of the outside world. Their lives were confined to the walls of the Jedi Temple and the teachings of their masters. Anakin's experiences, the love of his mother, the harsh reality of slavery, were experiences foreign to his fellow initiates, and this background set him apart, both isolating and at times divisive. From his earliest days in the temple, Anakin's exceptional abilities were evident. He quickly surpassed his peers in skill and technique, drawing both admiration and jealousy. The other younglings who had spent years honing their abilities saw Anakin's rapid progress as a threat. This jealousy manifested in bullying and exclusion, with many ridiculing him for his past as a slave. Despite his superior skills, Anakin struggled to find acceptance, feeling increasingly isolated and misunderstood. This sense of alienation was compounded by Anakin's perception that the Order was holding him back. He felt constrained by the rigid rules of the Jedi, and he believed that the Order's cautious approach was stifling his true potential. Anakin's choice to don dark robes was a direct reflection of his inner turmoil and desire to stand apart. The darker attire was not only a practical choice, but also a symbolic one. It represented his rejection of the Jedi's traditional path and his embrace of his own unique identity. While technically allowed, this raised concerns within the Jedi Council, who saw it as a sign of Anakin's growing discontent and rebellious nature. This tension would only grow as he progressed, setting the stage for the greater conflicts and choices that lay ahead. Traditional Jedi attire, typically in shades of tan and light brown, was designed to reflect humility, modesty, and the natural flow of the Force. These colors symbolize the Jedi's role as peacekeepers and their connection to the natural world, emphasizing their commitment to harmony and selflessness. Anakin's dark robes, in stark contrast, conveyed a different message. They were a visual representation of his rebellion against the traditional Jedi path and his desire to assert his unique identity. Historically, other Jedi had also deviated from traditional attire, but their reasons were often tied to cultural backgrounds or specific roles, like Luminara Unduli and Quinlan Vos. Ahsoka Tano, Anakin's own Padawan, also wore non-traditional clothing, but these choices were generally accepted as they did not directly challenge the core values of the Jedi Order. Anakin's robes, however, were different. They were a personal choice that highlighted his growing sense of alienation and his perception of being held back by the Order. The synthetic leather material of his robes provided greater protection in combat, aligning with Anakin's warrior mentality and his enjoyment of battle. While there was no explicit rule against wearing dark robes, the symbolism was troubling. Jedi robes were meant to reflect the wearer's personality and values, and Anakin's dark attire suggested a mind preoccupied with conflict and rebellion. This was a red flag for the Council, which already harbored doubts about Anakin's stability and his potential to fall to the dark side. The Council's fears were not unfounded. This was one of many indicators of his internal struggles and his embrace of a more aggressive, independent path. This choice, coupled with his remarkable power and headstrong nature, heightened the Council's mistrust and played a significant role in their decision to withhold the rank of Master from him. From the moment Anakin Skywalker joined the Jedi Order, the Council held concerns about the decisions to train him in the Jedi arts. The traditional Jedi Council believed in a code of conduct and appearance that symbolized their dedication to peace and the natural order of the Force, and Anakin's decisions clashed sharply with these values. One of the most significant factors contributing to the Council's concerns was Anakin's status as the Chosen One. According to prophecy, he was destined to bring balance to the Force. This prophecy, however, was shrouded in mystery. The burden of this destiny placed enormous pressure on Anakin, and his choices often seemed to reflect a struggle to live up to these expectations. The Council's secrecy regarding the prophecy added to the tension, as Anakin was unaware of the full extent of his importance, leading to feelings of frustration and misunderstanding. Anakin's lightsaber was designed with combat in mind. Unlike the standard Jedi lightsabers, which were crafted for both ceremonial purposes and practical defense, Anakin's weapon featured a larger grip and a powerful emitter shroud, optimized for dueling in battle. This design choice reflected his focus on direct confrontation and his exceptional skill in lightsaber combat. The Jedi Council, already wary of his rebellious nature, saw this as another sign that Anakin was more attuned to fighting than to the peaceful resolution of conflicts. The Jedi Council also feared the influence of the Sith. Despite the Sith's supposed extinction, the Council remained vigilant, aware that the dark side was ever present and could corrupt even the most powerful Jedi. The Sith's history of exploiting the ambitious and the powerful made the Council wary of Anakin, whose extraordinary abilities and dissatisfaction with the Order's constraints made him a prime target for corruption. Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber and combat style were as distinctive and controversial as his choice of attire. From the moment he constructed his first lightsaber, it was clear that Anakin was not content to follow the traditional path set by the Jedi Order. His weapon and the way he wielded it became symbols of his unique approach to being a Jedi, and further fueled the concerns of the Jedi Council. Initially, Anakin adopted the lightsaber Form 5 variant of Xi'an, which focused on defense and counterattacks. This form was respected within the Order for its practicality in deflecting blaster fire. However, after his defeat by Count Dooku on Geonosis, Anakin began practicing the more aggressive variant Jem So, which was designed for saber-to-saber combat. This shift was seen as a clear indication of his growing obsession with combat and revenge, particularly against Dooku. The Council viewed this as a dangerous trend, as it suggested Anakin's increasing focus on aggression and personal vendettas, contrary to the Jedi's teachings of peace and restraint. Yoda himself expressed concern about the trend among younger Jedi, including Anakin, to construct lightsabers and adopt fighting styles tailored for war. This shift was seen as a dangerous departure from the Jedi's role as peacekeepers and a potential path to the dark side. Previous Jedi who had embraced aggressive forms or displayed a tendency towards rebellion often fell to the dark side. Dooku himself, once a respected Jedi Master, had turned to the Sith after becoming disillusioned with the Order. The parallels between Dooku's path and Anakin's growing relentlessness were too stark to ignore, leading the Council to keep a close watch on Anakin and to restrain his rise within the Order. In the end, Anakin's lightsaber and combat style were more than just tools of war. They were extensions of his personality and reflections of his inner conflict. His choices in these areas provided a window into his soul, revealing a Jedi who was caught between the light and the dark, tradition and rebellion. The Jedi Council's concerns, while rooted in tradition and a desire to protect the Order, also highlighted the challenges of nurturing a prodigy like Anakin Skywalker, an individual whose destiny was intertwined with the very balance of the Force. Anakin's story is only part of the larger narrative of the Jedi and Sith. If you want to explore more of this epic saga, check out our video on the Great Sith War to discover the origins of the Sith and how their ancient conflicts set the stage for Anakin's struggles. Until next time, may the Force be with you.